please mute yourself unless you're speaking. Ideally, if you can, keep your cameras on. It's more pleasant for us to look at your faces rather than screens. Thank you very much. As you just heard, this meeting is being recorded. It's not that we would make you celebrities, but it's more for that you can rewatch it again, and it can be shared with your peers and colleagues. So thank you for understanding that. And as mentioned, when you want to ask the question, please do it through the icon raise hand at the bottom of your screen, or you can type it in Czech or English in the chat, and we'll take care of that. Are there any questions? Not yet? Okay. So let's welcome our guest speakers from Lightbulb EdTech from South Africa. Very happy to have you all here, Sarah, Allan, and Carol. They will be talking about their solution for education, lessons learned, best practices, and giving you inspiration for your project.
Perfect.
So the screen is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bara, and thank you to everybody, and thank you to the audience for joining. I'm going to try and do this as it's not going to be a very formalized structure. If you do have any questions, please do raise your hand, and we're more than happy to engage with us at any point in time. So what I'm going to start off with, I'm just going to see if Sarah, you have access to your shared screen. We're going to attempt to do this. And then the idea that I want is for her to basically do a quick presentation, a few videos, and then from there, we're going to jump onto the actual platform itself. But just to do a quick introduction, so my name is Allan. I'm the founder of Lightbulb Education and EdTech essentially. And I've got Sarah. Sorry, I just want to get a bit of feedback. I don't know where that's coming from. Sorry, Sarah, I think if you don't mind,
Lightbulb is learning.
You're on mute. Okay. You're on mute. Okay. Your sound is on mute. Sorry, Sarah joining me. Carol as well. Okay. I'm gonna let her play the video, then I'll stop it. Okay.
I'm really sorry, but we are hearing some feedback from your microphone. Is that any possibility that you can, I don't know, correct me?
It was coming from Sarah's mic, but it's I think it should be sorted now. Are we good? Okay, cool. Sarah, do you mind just playing that, and I'll take it over from there. Good. Now we can't hear you. Sorry. You mind just putting the sound on?
Fully integrated, easy to use. Lightbulb is a learning management system which provides online training and education with a difference. We use a fully integrated, easy to use, customizable, content managed platform with many features and benefits. Lightbulb was established in 2015 as an effort to provide learners with online supplementary support. Now our platform hosts over 15,000 users, which includes corporates and industries for staff skill training, as well as school and university learners. Our easy-to-use platform offers interactive videos, gamified courses, multiple choice, flashcards, image pairing, and many more interactive features. We also offer white labeling, which is the ability to customize our platform to your own specifications. Using our platform, you can not only keep track of your student and employee progress, but also have all your assessments and tests marked for you. We offer an easy to upload and edit course creation tool, which we also provide training and support for. Our 3-tier support system is there to assist you with any struggle you may have, as well as day-to-day support and training on any mobile or cloud-based platform for all our users. We host multiple communication tools, such as live chats, streaming capabilities, a fully interactive whiteboard, and tutoring. We also offer business intelligence and analytics, pulling reports if required for any client who asks. All of these features are accessible from any mobile device or cloud-based platform. Our platform is designed not only to save you time, but also to reduce costs and logistics as well. We offer a number of different benefits to not only benefit you, but also the environment around you. If you would like to hear more information or receive a free demonstration of our platform, contact us using the following platforms.
Let's get one more. Okay, let me take over. Okay, thank you so much, Sarah, for that introduction. See if I can get this right. Can you see my screen? Okay, awesome.
Yes.
All right, great. So just gonna start off with the introduction. So we started the EdTech company with the efforts to try and find a way to utilize the telecommunications infrastructure to better provide supplementary support to students and learners across the country. My background was in engineering. I worked quite a bit in telecommunications for a very long time. And basically what I used to do, I used to go to different regions as part of the organization's corporate responsibility and deploy like internet or computer labs for schools in different areas. And one of the things that I found is that a lot of these schools were basically not utilizing the computer labs as effectively. A lot of the times it's purely because the educators were not necessarily that computer literate. And so what ended up happening is there was a very reduced adoption of technology within the schools itself. So one of the things that we thought about was we needed to build a platform that could basically alleviate those sort of problems, but at the same time, make use of all the infrastructure that the telecommunications companies were deploying. So whenever we deployed like tablets or actual desktops and so on, we wanted to make sure that the schools are actually utilizing the platforms, the communications as much as possible. And so I thought about it and I said, how best can I serve them is to maybe build a platform whereby I can be sitting on one side of the country and I can send them content and I can help students basically learn through this process. So back in, as Sarah mentioned in the video, in 2015, we started off by providing a learner support service. So basically what happened is we built the Lightbulb platform, and the idea was to help students, especially with STEM education, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and help students to basically bridge the gaps of where they were struggling to study by having them communicate with a subject matter expert and gain access to resources along the way. Over time, we've developed the system even further, and we've basically ended up with our own sort of LMS. And I'm just going to go through it in very high level, just to explain to you how it all works. And I'll try my best to go as slowly as possible. But basically, let me just quickly log out of here, just to give you an example. So when every single person lands on a Lightbulb site, they normally land on a login page, whereby there might be like a video and some other information about that particular page. The one in particular that I'm looking at right now is one which is dealing with education, and this is at both the primary school level and high school level. And this system is used by one of the telecommunications providers in terms of trying to ensure that learners can get access to supplementary support for STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, and maths. As you can see, there's actually some live lessons. I'll probably join those in a little bit just to show you how that all works. So how the system starts off, the main part is it starts with the dashboard. I'm in an admin view at the moment. If I switch to a student view, it'll adjust accordingly and only show me the components for students. But basically, an admin view, what everybody has is a standard dashboard. And how that works is it shows you, like, it's going to be customized and designed according to what you want to track. In this case, they track the number of logins and the number of activities that students are doing within the platform. There's also like other components in terms of like courses completed, tests completed, written assessments, and interactive content, or LICs, as you'll see along the way. I'll give you more detail around that. And then generally the points that are associated with the activities on the platform. Every single activity that a student does on the platform generates a point. And so therefore we track it in that fashion to make sure that we are able to see what's happening within the platform itself. Okay, I'm just going to drop these quickly. And basically what the standard dashboard allows you to do, it allows you to filter accordingly, go down to like the actual subjects to see which ones have the most activities in them and what's happening within that particular group. So that is essentially the dashboard. It's going to go to like the user tables. So in the user tables, basically this is where it's the user management of the system. You can do a lot of things over here. You can send messages to individuals. We have a WhatsApp integration because the majority of the South African users are, I think it's about 90% of them are on mobile devices. Most of them don't have access to laptops or computers. So we try our best to communicate with them using mobile devices as much as possible. Some of them don't have access to emails. A lot of the schools don't necessarily have access to emails. So we integrated things such as like WhatsApp. So I can send a message via the system, and then we'll send a message to that WhatsApp number that's associated with that particular student. And they're able to get like notifications and instructions and so forth. There are three types of users on the platform. We have students, instructors, and administrators. The main differences between the administrators and the instructors is the administrators have the ability to add and remove users, whereas instructors can only add content onto the platform and basically engage with the students that way. So they don't have the power to remove users from the platform itself. Okay. And then one of the key differences between our LMS and a lot of others, and the reason why we did this is primarily around the very fact that we know that people struggle with, like, navigating the platforms or navigating new systems, is we created what we call a classification function. So which is a set of categories, groups, subjects, and sections. The reason we do this is to qualify or to tag content to the users and users to the content. So just to give you an example, a category can be school, a group could be like a grade 12, a subject could be mathematics, and a section can be like trigonometry. So if you have a video or a note or something along those lines that is associated with that, you would then tag it accordingly. And basically all the users, when they log in, they'll get notifications about, hey, there's a new video or a new exercise that's been added, and they don't have to go looking for it, because with a lot of other systems, you have to send the link, you have to send the email. So now, because you tagged it, it automatically gets assigned to the user. Okay, I'm gonna come back to courses and learning paths. I'm just gonna start with the library, because what makes up the courses is components from the library and assessments. So just to give you like a typical example, let me actually just close this so it gets out the way. So typically speaking, you have media, which could be any sort of video material that you might want to upload, worksheets, notes, and LICs. I'll just give you a quick brief about, like, let's just go to the LICs as an example. So this here is interactive content. So basically we use an H5P engine, and we utilize it in order to basically create digital content for the users at the end of the day. And one of the cool things about this is it's very interactive. So you have the ability to basically, ask questions in different ways and have the users, answer the questions in as best as possible based on the topics that you have available. Okay, so this is examples of like momentum, for instance, and you can utilize this within a course, or like you can put it together as a sequence for students to get involved in. I'm just going to show you some examples of like some of the things that we normally do. So these here are what we call like the end of year papers, that the final, I guess it's like your SATs, I guess if you want to call it that. I don't know if you guys use SATs, but essentially how it works is that we've taken those documents and we've converted them into actual tests, essentially, which basically allow the users the ability to engage directly and get the same sort of results like they would in a normal test. And what we do is we convert it into a digital activity, and we show all the educators how to go about doing this in order to check to see whether or not the learners have understood that particular topic. So it gives you like a very good way to do, if you're doing mathematics or physical science or science, essentially, you have the ability to basically still have them, answer the questions, but doing it in a digital fashion. And any educator can take any test that's normally written and convert it into one of these sort of activities at the end of the day. The benefit of this is obviously you're able to track it. You're able to then put like analytics behind it, see how many students have failed it, see how many students have were able to engage with the material, and it also helps you with the ability to see whether or not you need to maybe do some improvements with regards to the material that you're providing for the students. Just some other examples of LICs. I just want to use like some. Let's look at this one over here. I know these guys use a lot of like interactive videos, just to give you some examples of how other educators tend to utilize it. So that in some cases, they'll create like an interactive video. And what will happen here is the educator will basically go, am I sharing my sound? I hope I am. They'll basically go explain a particular topic using their phone. And then within the actual video, they'll ask questions to the students to see whether or not they've actually understood the work. And this works out very, very well when you want to explain something and you want to make sure that all the students have understood that particular topic in depth, essentially. So you want to make sure that they have a good understanding. And this is one of the key ways that you can do so whenever somebody is basically using a video format to prepare material. Okay, so once you've created the material or uploaded it as a worksheet, a note, or a video, what you can then do is you can then load it into a course. And then with the course, you can then load it into a learning path. So just to give you like a typical example, let's look at grade 7 science. So here is like a media item. So this is a video that's been uploaded. And so what will basically happen is that the students will go, they'll watch the video.
The hypersphere and the geosphere.
Okay, and this video will basically go on about this particular topic, explaining the atmosphere. Okay, and once they've gone through that, and by the way, you can move these around and interchange them depending on the sequence that you want the students to engage in. So once they've watched the video, you then maybe give them an interactive content or like an activity for them to do. And so then you basically ask them to then start that activity, and then they can answer the questions associated with that and see whether or not they understand that particular topic very well. And so basically any educator can basically take whatever information it is, if it's a textbook or notes, and try and digitize it as best as possible to explain to the students what, to make sure that they understand what the topic was that you were covering. What's this here? Hydrosphere, that's water. Okay, great. And then click on the parts of the atmosphere, that's over there. And so then you have the ability to then like see whether or not they've actually understood the work and gone through it in more detail. Okay. I'm stuck with these in general. All right. So then basically what you end up doing is you then take those courses and then you can string them together into a learning path. And let's look, I hope there's one which has a lot of, so this is one of them with just one course. So basically you can string together a set of courses and you can put a time where they can be released. You can lock them over a period of time. So maybe at the beginning of the year, you're doing the first semester work. And basically what you want to do is you load all the first semester work, you can load it in sequence, and then the students will basically only see the work that's ready for them. And when you get to the second semester, then the next set of work will be released by the system automatically. So you just have to set the dates and the times to do so. I just want to show you just one example of like how one can create content using the H5P engine. So basically, as mentioned, we have the different categories. So in this case, if I wanted to create a topic for, let's just say, like for functions or grade 9 maths or whatever it is, I can basically select where I need it to go by choosing the category, the group, the class that it needs to be part of, and then the section that it needs to be part of. Once I've selected that, I then have a choice of different interactive tools. I showed you a handful of the ones which have to do with like flashcards. So just to give you some details around it, there's some good examples here which explain to you how it all works. And one can basically create, a new interaction using this. But there's a whole range of others. There's like the interactive book, interactive video. I showed you an example of that. The question set, which is a range of different types of assessments. We use this quite a lot when we're trying to make a lot of question papers or activities for the students to respond to as in terms of assessments. There's another ones, there's dialogue cards, and you can play around with this depending on how you want to utilize it. You can then choose to engage that way. But I just want to show you an example of the interactive video. So just to show you how quick and easy it is, I'm going to look for hoping to get like a YouTube video quickly. So I can just give you an example of how that could work. Let's go here. Just a quick one, just to show you how one can basically please. And take this one. Oh, sorry, that. Okay. So basically, I don't know if you guys have ever used the H5P engine, but basically how it works is you basically load the video, and then you can just give it a name and say, I don't know, test video. Okay. And basically how it works is that you can then add in like different types of interactions. So this is like a true or false. You can say planet or something like that. And then you can ask, is planet you can just say true or false. I'm just going to say it's true. And then at this point in time, this question will appear and it'll be made available for that particular topic. So just to give you an example, I'm just going to do that and just to create for it, just to show you how it all works. So then at this point in time, you will, okay, put it right at the beginning. And then there's the question that you have to answer. So that's a very simple way of doing it. And now it's made available for the students. So any educator can basically upload a video and basically put in some questions with regards to that particular topic. Okay. Just going to quickly rush now. I want to lose the time that the guys are doing the stream, but I'm going to try to go through a lot of the components as best as possible. We then have written assessments, multiple choice, and LIC as assessments. So you can, the interactive content can be used as just general content or as a formal assessment, depending on how the instructor wants to do it. But in terms of like the written assessment, this is like a standard sort of document. I'm just going to give you like some examples. It's basically like a PDF that one would basically upload into the system, and then the students would then have access to it, and they could view it, download it, preview it, and see whether or not it's, and then they'd have to like write down their answers and submit by scanning in, by using their phone to scan in their results. I'm going to show you an example of this using the reports. I'm going to show you, these guys did one recently. I think it's these guys, just to give you some examples of how they did it. So let's just take one of these students. And basically, so this was the question paper. So this is the question paper that the students were basically given, and they submitted their answers by scanning in. They just take a picture of their phone and they scan it into the system, and then the educator would read it. Now, the main difference between the written assessments and these other two is these two are fully automated. So the system will automatically mark it, whereas this one, unfortunately, it's the educator or the instructor would have to go read that document and then submit a mark for that particular student. Okay. In terms of reviews, so this basically is just a way for you to review, for the students to review the educators and the educators to review the students. And you can be on any topic. You can create different parameters. So just to give you like a typical example, let me just go and I want to review, let's say the mathematics class and add a student rating. I can then add like a rating to a student. I can tell them, you know, I can change all these parameters. In this case, I'm going to say knowledge, good, excellent, or average. And you can just give a point, and then you just give the comment if you have to, and you click save. So then basically what happens is this report will get attached to this particular student's profile. So at the end of the year, if parents want to engage and find out why did my child not do well in a particular class, then they'll just go and see what comments did the instructors or their class teachers give them. So the maths teacher gave this, the science teacher gave that, and so on. And you can use that for reviewing purposes. Okay. With the reports, I just showed you like high level with the written reports. I'm going to go into more detail with the back-end analytics, which you can use to basically get more details around like how students engage. But I just wanted to just give you on the system itself, the very high level reports that the educators can get access to. Let's just see here, go to mathematics. And let's just say we want to look at a particular student, and you want to go into the actual detail. You can see what they did wrong, look exactly and see what questions they got right or got wrong on a particular topic. And you have that level of detail over here. Okay, I'm going to jump to the more live. So these are all the content-based services. So basically the on-demand engagements. I'm now going to go towards the streaming side of things, and I'll come back to the Q&A after that. So what this is a streaming engine. And basically what it allows you to, as you can see, there's a lot of activity happening. There's a lot of, at this time, there's a lot of students on engaging on topics and having lessons essentially. But what this allows you the ability to do is, as an educator, you have the ability to basically publish or broadcast a stream. I don't know if it's going to allow me because I'm using multiple. Let's see if I'll do a screen share over there, and then I'm using my camera already. But basically, what it allows you the ability to do is to publish a stream, and then you can watch it live and see what's happening with a particular class. So we do that with lessons. So I think let's just watch and see if there's what's happening here. So this is a physics lesson that's running right now. I don't know if she can, I don't know if she's saying anything. Okay, so she's busy. Okay, so she's busy drawing. I don't know if you can hear her. So basically, she's having a live session on physical science, and she's explaining a particular topic. So students can basically log in. They can log in on their phone. I'm going to try my best to also log in on my phone device. I can just show you how it all works. Let's see, you can do that. Okay. Shame poor Nabila, she has no idea she's got such a large audience today. So basically what happens is, like at this time, about 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock for you guys, they normally have lessons for grade 10 and I think grade 12 as well. And I'm just going to show it to you how fast it works on your mobile device as well. This works very, very well because it works on any device and it can be adjusted according to the bandwidth that you have, which is quite key for us here in South Africa, where you don't have like stable internet services. So you want to make sure that you have access to a decent link. And what this system allows us the ability to do is to compress the video and make it easier for individuals to engage in. So I'm just going to show you. I don't know. Ooh, let's just see. Let's reduce it. All right, I'm going to try my best to show it on the camera, and we can see on my camera. But you're basically watching her video on my phone, and I can play around with it. I can move it around. I can interact with the video, and at the same time still see, still use the other functions on the phone, which is quite key when you want to talk and have engagements with the educator while they're doing the discussions. So as you can see right now, there's like activities, there's students asking questions and talking on the chat. And you can use this in depth when you want to like maybe learn more. And this is all live. So what's happening now is it's actually live. So it's running right now. So I'm not going to try and disturb them. I'm sure they're going to carry on with their own session after this. Okay, so let's just jump back out of this. Okay, so with regards to that, you have the ability, I could easily join over here. This chat component allows us the ability to have calls. We can set up groups. As you can see, this is a group discussion. You can have calls together with individuals. You can share a whiteboard, for instance, if you wanted to engage with the individual. This allows you the ability to draw a particular topic and have that individual engage with you directly. So let's give you a typical example of how that could work. I'm not sure if she's still online, but basically, oh, there she is. Okay, cool. So we can basically engage like remotely, and then she can basically do it at the same time. So if I want to have a discussion with her, we are able to do so directly. Okay, so that's the whiteboard.
Allan, sorry to interrupt. We have a couple of questions in the chat.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay.
If you can elaborate a little more about the integration with WhatsApp, how is it done? Is it technically difficult? Then also there is a question how Lightbulb EdTech improved the distance learning during COVID-19.
Yes.
If the schools were closed, and where we can try out the app. And there might be one more. So the integration with WhatsApp first. Okay,
cool. So the integration with WhatsApp was dependent on the API. So we had to look at what API was provided to us. So API is basically an application protocol interface. So it's a way that our system can talk to WhatsApp and send the right sort of messaging. They do have a standard API available. There's a lot of documentation on there. And basically what you have to do is just read the API and understand what are the parameters that you need to be doing in order to communicate back and forth. So what we would do is we send information to WhatsApp about the key benefits or the key IDs that we look for are the number, the unique number of that individual, and then the message that you're sending and how you package it. And then the system will automatically do that. So it's a rather simple thing to do. As long as you're able to read the API documentation, you should be able to do it with with most systems of integration. And then the next question, so I just went through.
Thank you. Lucia, is there more you would like to ask about the integration?
Because, sorry, I was naive and I thought that you have to talk to WhatsApp. Hey, can we use this app and connect it to WhatsApp directly? So it's not like that. You need like an intermediary like application to connect it. Where I understand it correctly.
So WhatsApp themselves, there's something called Wassenger. So you can use Wassenger. That's the one that we use. You can also use, I think, Twilio, if I'm not mistaken, which will allow you the ability to integrate into WhatsApp, the WhatsApp channel essentially. But how it works is that you have to have like a registered, maybe like a WhatsApp for Business service with a number, because all the messages have to terminate from a number essentially. So it's your WhatsApp business, or it could be like the school's number or like the organization's number, and then that's the one that sends the messages to the students. Okay, but what's very nice about it is that we can program Lightbulb to send like bulk messages at once, which is what's quite key for us.
Yeah, I think that's very nice touch. I like it. It's a good idea.
Yeah. It helps, especially with notifications, because a lot of students don't have access to email. That's the biggest problem which we have. So we're always having to find different ways of engaging. Yeah.
Well, let's go on with the easier ones. I think one of your colleagues already replied in the chat. Carol, thank you. It was a question about language mutations that are available already at Lightbulb EdTech.
So the languages.
Mm-hmm. So is it only English, or do you support any other languages?
So the system itself is on it's run on the browser, so you can theoretically change the language. Let me see if I can do it here. Where is it? I'm hoping to find there should be a translate function somewhere here. You can basically change the entire sort of language to, let's just try and see, translate. Add a language, let's try, let's check. Oop, I'm saying right. Oh, there it is. Let's try that. Hopefully this is going to work. So you should theoretically be able to translate the entire like text. The only places where you might need to do the changes is on the labeling, but we can do that for any organization. But it generally allows you the ability to translate the entire page. Sorry, I'm just looking for the translate button. Translate to, let's do this. Apologies. I've done this before, so I'm just trying to find it exactly.
I believe, and Arenka, please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the question is more about that if we want to use it for Czech students, yes. We usually don't teach, well, some schools do teach subjects in English, but we usually teach them in Czech unless it's English lesson. So if it's possible to use for Czech students and Czech teachers.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Bara.
Thank you, Arenka.
No, exactly. So unfortunately, I was like looking everywhere for the translate function, but it does automatically adjust all. Because this is HTML, a lot of it is HTML, it will do automatic translation. So if you're to log in on your whatever your browser settings are, it'll then convert everything into the local language. So if it's French, it'll convert into French. If it's Swedish, it'll automatically adjust. Where there might be some adjustments that need to happen, we have a system at the back whereby we will then just adjust it according to the respective like language phrases, because sometimes the system itself will not do like a direct translation properly. So then in those cases, we will then we'll configure it automatically on our side. Okay.
Thank you. There was a question about where people can try out the app, but Sarah and Melanie are handling that in the chat. So you can either go to the website of Lightbulb EdTech and book a demo session, or just share email with us, and that can be arranged. So to the more complex question, and thank you for all the questions that are coming. How has Lightbulb EdTech improved the distance learning during COVID-19? And we are not sure if the schools were closed, as it was the case here in the Czech Republic. So how did it all work during the lockdown or last year's complicated education situation? So if you could tell us a little more about that. Thank you.
Okay, so basically, I'd probably say this is the biggest thing that's happened out of this whole situation. So when a lot of the schools closed, they needed a framework in order to deliver the services. So, and the problem that we had is the transitioning from a physical class to a digital one was quite difficult for a lot of the educators. So we tried our best to show them how they could use the platform as best as possible to still have lessons. A lot of the schools, basically, it was quick. It was a very quick adoption. What happened with us is that we helped a lot of the schools to onboard their learners. We onboarded about, I think it was about 5,000 users from, like, this is primarily from the telecom group of schools. It was a very seamless system and engagement. And because they were all, they're not necessarily that computer literate, or they weren't, they struggled a bit to switch over. What we try to do is to show them the easy systems to use, the things which don't require you, you know, like to have like an in-depth knowledge. And one of the ones was basically so like this virtual system that I'm showing you here, or the virtual learning environment, where all we said to them is take your laptop or your camera, it could be your phone, point it at your Blackboard, run the publisher stream, and basically just tell them what we will do is we will send the links to the students, and then they can basically join the lessons from there. And it's almost the same thing as you going to a class, because it's live. You can interact with the educator directly, and you're able to at least have the class that you would in normal sense. Over time, they also started to use the on-demand courses and the on-demand material. But the key benefit was having this function available for them to broadcast the lessons to the students directly, and that was quite important for us. But other than that, it was tricky, because you're going from people who generally don't use computers at all to having to now have to learn how to use everything and use it effectively. And so, but I think our system has a very low learning curve, as opposed to other ones, which can be very, very complicated, which ends up making the teachers feel like they can't, you know, work well, and then they end up just dropping it off because they're just not able to handle all the links that they have to send out, the emails that they have to send. So having everything in one place was really helpful for a lot of educators.
Thank you very much, Alan. I don't see any other questions in the chat, unless anyone have.
Can we elaborate a little bit about that? Because so the function to being able to stream through your system was initially there before the COVID crisis. It was not adapted because of COVID.
So we used to have what we had was the general sort of like chat function over here, where we can still do like a call basically. So I can, you know, talk to this person and I can have a call to them. But what happened was that for the one company that we were working with, they had a lot of students. So and it was over you know, over 5,000 students that they were supporting. Now Teams, Zoom, and all these other sort of broadcast functions could not handle that. So what we ended up doing is we worked with Amazon to build a streaming engine, and it actually worked out very well. It took us a few months to put together, but we managed to get it to work. And then after that, we launched it, but we launched it for everybody because we realized it's something that a lot of people want to do live sessions. They don't want to just do on demand, you know, like upload the video and then have the students go to it. They want to be able to engage and still teach in their way, because trying to change people to teach to like an online pedagogy is always complicated. So by having this system available, it allows them to still do what they would normally do, but virtually, if that makes sense. So it was, but the main reason why we built the engine was because of the capacity issues that we had with Teams and Zoom. And so we needed something that could broadcast a lot more and without degrading the network as well. Not to mention, what this system does is it also is able to streamline the bandwidth, so that if you don't have enough bandwidth, it will automatically adjust the picture, and it'll also automatically adjust like what comes through. So if your network drops quite a bit, the video might drop, but then the audio still comes through. So at least you're able to still pick it up. And what's also key about this is that it can broadcast to over like 10 million people quite easily without any problems. It's the same as how you can if you're doing like a YouTube live or a Facebook live event. Lots of people can basically connect at the same time without degrading the system.
Thank you. I think it answers your question, Uri. Please let me know if you have a following up question. And how do you handle, Allan, how do you handle data privacy and security as the students, users and teachers are sharing some private information, you check their activities and such. So how do you handle data privacy, please?
So everything is effectively locked off. There's authentication, there's a lot of security parameters that are loaded onto the platform. So you only users with like, username and passwords are able to basically access the system. But beyond that, what we do is we segment different role types. So different roles have the ability to see information about, students that they're part of. So if you're not part and parcel of a particular group of, like if that's not your class, you will not be able to see the members of that domain. But on top of that, from a backend and a data side of things, we work very well with Amazon. Oh, sorry. Not sure if Petra has a question. Oh, sorry. So we work with Amazon Web Services. We do a lot of like risk assessments, security checks. There's a lot of like multi-factor authentication for like the core backend of the services. Only a handful of individuals have access. We generally follow the standards of the GDPR policies and regulations with regards to access and so on. But with regards to like individual schools, they generally do sign a document. It's normally sent through to the parents, where there's going to be exchange of information between the educators and the students. And then they basically are able to see what information is shared between the different groups. And we tend to monitor that quite extensively and use as much detail as possible in terms of ensuring that it is adhered to. Should there be somebody has like a request or wants to file a complaint or whatever, we then have the tools available to go and investigate it, especially with regards to like the chats and so on. We do keep that stored in the archives. We're able to go and pull that up and make sure that and investigate if there is any sort of like breach or issues that occur within the system itself. It is a closed system, so you can only access the system if you have an authorized username and password, and that username and password is linked to your account, which is only linked to what you are assigned to. So you don't have like free reign to do whatever you want. It's very well controlled.
Thank you. There's a question about group work, and Melande already answered that your system especially endorses group work. So if you want to elaborate on that, and also similar question, is it possible to implement personal learning? I'm not sure how you meant that question. So group work, and is it possible to implement personal learning? You mean like individual learning that?
Oh, so you follow like a learning path. I think I'll ask Cal to jump into that one just now.
Thank you.
But with regards to so this is an example of some of the group work. So this is here as like a grade 12 mathematics class. There's about 275 users on this particular group, and they're basically having a discussion on a particular topic, and they're sharing voice notes. They're engaging that way. There's also like a stream that's probably running with regards to their engagement. And as they're going through, they have the ability to share notes, to collaborate on documents and things like that. So it's quite easy to set up a group. Anybody can set up a new group. You have the ability to make it a public or private or password protected group. So basically an educator can set up, or an administrator can set up different groups for the different classes, and only those individuals who are part of that group can be assigned to it. So similar to if I wanted to do like a breakout room or so on, I can do so with these sort of functions essentially. Okay. And then, sorry, the second question was with the
individual learning path.
Okay, so generally speaking, everybody gets access to like these sort of learning paths depending on what your profile is. So as a student, you will be assigned based on your like grouping. So in this case, this particular student has access to all these grades and subjects, but you will be given your particular learning path. So I'm just going to, where's the one I'm looking for? Momentum, this is to physical science, sorry. Let's go over to science. And I think let's just do this one. So basically what happens in this case is that I have to go through, I'll be assigned these components, and then I have to go through each one of these courses, work through them and make sure that I understand it. So individually, I'll always be given a topic, and I will basically follow that particular topic as a student until completion, essentially. So that's basically how it works. So every individual has their own sort of like structure. In some cases, like in this case, I don't know if you can see, as a student, I only have access to 2 of the modules because that's what I've been assigned to. If I go back to my admin view, sorry, let's move this out the way here. If I go back to my admin view, I have access to all of them because I can now see I've got a different role. But as a student, you'll only be assigned to the path that you need to follow. And then using that, you're able to see what topics you need to be following. And it's structured in a very like set way based on what your profile stipulates. I don't know if Carol, you want to just jump in if there's anything else you want to add from regards to that?
Hi, everybody. Let me switch my camera on. Hopefully I've got enough bandwidth. So, yeah, I think one of the things that is important to note is that as the educator or the tutor or whatever you want to call yourself, you've got complete autonomy over how much of you want the people to have autonomous learning or self-guided learning, and how much of it is group learning, how much of it's paired learning. I am a curriculum developer who's been tutoring Allan. I'm not from the tech side of things, so I suppose this is partly why we have all these tools in, because I believe that any sort of digital learning should be able to give as rich a learning environment as you can get if you're standing in front of a class or you're facilitating a lesson. And I think that stood us in very good stead during the COVID period, because we have those problems here in South Africa all the time. And we were in some ways lucky because we were already trying to solve for some of those problems before COVID hit, which is why we had some of these tools ready to go. Some of them were very much in test phase and had to be tested very fast. And it was a steep innovation curve for us. But I think in terms of the actual learnings that we took from it was the more freedom you allow the person who's the educator or the teacher or the facilitator to work in a system that they're comfortable with, upload things that they're comfortable with, and interact with students in a way that works for them, the better the system works. Because it doesn't help to force a rigid system that can only do a little bit for you. It's in pieces all over the place. And I think that's been one of the biggest complaints I've heard from educators, is that in things like Google Classroom, it's not all one seamless experience. You do the lesson in this part, and then you have to send a mail and you have to upload it in a different part. Whereas here, the user experience is all in one arc, and the person who is facilitating the learning has control over that arc of learning. So I think that helps a lot to view it from that perspective. And I think we learned a lot overnight in what works and what doesn't work, because when we onboarded the people from the telecom schools, we had teachers, coordinators, a corporate telecommunications company who wanted to brand everything, and we had tutors who had to do remedial education, and we had to solve for all those people at once. So I think that helped a lot with all the tools that is available within the system. Obviously, it looks like a lot when you look at it just like this. It's not simple, and you probably won't remember everything. But I think the easiest way to do it is the way I always do anything, is I design it as if we're in the real world. And I want to see if what we do in the real world can be emulated and made easier within the digital world. And I think that is the one great advantage of this. The biggest challenge I found was to create content fast enough. And I think that has been one of our challenges throughout across the world with COVID. Suddenly everyone needed digital content, and all the digital content is all sitting on YouTube, made by Sal Khan, if you're doing mathematics. So we had to adapt quite a lot and learn how to work with that. And I think these tools that Allan is demonstrating, where you can share the screen, you've got shared documents, you've got shared whiteboards, they work in some ways more seamlessly than the ones that you would have if you were using Microsoft Teams or Zoom, because they allow you to upload a picture of what you've scribbled on a piece of paper on your desk, or you can upload a voice note to answer the question. So in some ways, it can work exactly like a normal classroom. If I'm a teacher and I've got 30 people in front of me and I ask a question, I can monitor if they're all answering, and I can say, Allan, wake up, can you please answer this question? So I think that is what makes it unique for me. I have not found another system that has allowed all these things to be integrated. And my job is permanently to torture them with new ideas of how we can make this more user-friendly for students. So I think that, I hope that answers some of your questions as to what it is. And I'd be happy to answer others if there's anything else.
Thank you very much. And there's another question probably for both of you. How exactly is the system implemented at the school level? From your perspective as a user, Carol, and from your perspective as a provider, Allan.
So at the school level, so this is pretty much an example of one of them, if you want to utilize it as a school, at the school level. So this is essentially how it would be deployed. Basically, you'd get a system like this. We'll probably do some additional branding or design work that needs to happen. Maybe change the color. So just to give you some other examples of others. So just to, we generally like white label it, or, different guys have different sort of, designs that they like, and we basically brand it accordingly. And then, but once you log in, it's more or less the same sort of like styling and so on. They just have different parameters that they follow. So once that's done, you then have all the functions. If there's any sort of customizations that need to occur, we normally work with the school or the institution and say they want to, like, I don't know, what's an example of one? They want to print certificates for their users at the end of the year. So then they'll give us those templates, and we'll basically help them to upload them onto the system, so that as soon as the student completes a particular task, they will get like a certificate from the school, or it'll get emailed to them or WhatsApp to them, whichever method that they want to utilize. So generally speaking, that's from a technical side. We help with the customization side of things. Where possible, we would normally work with, in terms of like helping the school or the educators with additional training in terms of how to upload, how to create content, how to convert their content. We do have sessions on that. There is a course on Lightbulb to help people to learn how to do that, but we can also make sure that we're available to assist with those parameters as well. We also generally have an admin available with every single site. And basically what they do is they're available to assist with any sort of queries and questions that particular institution might have, or whoever's needing help or support with regards to how to utilize the platform, or how best to engage with whatever material that they have. Okay. Is there anything else from your side, Carol?
Sorry, I don't think so. I think there's some more questions that you'll have to answer.
Oh, okay, cool. No problem. I don't know if I can. Are they in the chat? Hold on.
Master, and they want to use it. How do they go about it? Does the system have an open API? Can it integrate with other systems? See, that's tech speak. It's your department.
Yeah, okay. So we have our own unique API. Generally speaking, what we normally do is you would send a request to us based on what you want to integrate with, and then we would then let you know what needs to be done. More often than not, we will build the API for you should you need it. We've done that with Telkom, for instance. They wanted us to integrate with their billing engine. So how it works is that they wanted to give direct access to all their subscribers. So Telkom is a telecommunications organization here. So similar to, like, I think Vodafone. I'm not sure if Vodafone's in Czech Republic, but basically there's the same sort of structure. And what they wanted was, like, if somebody has that unique number, they wanted the system to automatically, like, download the information and load them onto the platform. So we had to integrate and build an API that talks to their system. It was a very unique system, but they gave us basically, like, the different parameters, and then we built an API to do the interrogation. So whenever somebody logs in using a Telkom number, the system will check the Telkom servers and then come back with a response to say yes or no, this person is a valid user. Well, I don't know, I can't see the other questions, so I apologize. I'm looking for.
No worries. It seems we don't have any other question for the moment. So if you'd like to continue.
It says, I'm a headmaster and I'd like to use my school. Oh, okay. So just I think if you can just go onto the website and then just follow the steps with setting up a demo request. I think Malandi would engage with you. I don't know if Malandi or Sarah would basically engage with you and help you with the steps to set up a demo and to go through the needs of your particular school and then take it from there. So it depends also, like, on what type of school it is it high school, primary school, or I guess a kindergarten. Different ones will have different sort of requirements in terms of how we set it up and how we configure it. Okay. And then, sorry, actually, I haven't even shown you, sorry, the analytics at the back. Sorry, apologies. I haven't actually gone through that. So one of the key things that we do is we're able to push all the data to a business intelligence tool, which allows us the ability to track and see how, like, students are engaging. So just to give you, like, a typical example, if you wanted to see what different students have done, how they've done it, we're able to use these tools to basically interrogate and see, like, for instance, in this case, this is a list of schools, and we're trying to see which schools are the most active and what are they doing. It basically shows me that, okay, you know, who's doing the most in terms of activities. We're able to go through and filter based on different parameters. We can set it up according to what we need. So this here just shows you which are the most, in the Telkom profile, who are the most active schools. I think that obviously these two are the biggest ones. And then there's individuals who are a little smaller, there's some homeschooling and so on that happens on the platform. So we're able to get a lot more detail. We can change the parameters, we can change the times. Let's just say I wanted to look at it from, let's look at this last couple of months. Let's say from there till, there we go. It'll automatically adjust. And what this allows us to do is to delve down deeper into what's actually happening on the platform. So we can configure these charts based on whatever the educator is looking to try and track. It allows you a lot of insights into what's going on. And these can be automatic, these can all be designed and changed accordingly. So this really helps when you're trying to do reporting based on activities on the platform, or like any sort of learnings that you want. You can also do trends to see whether or not students are increasing in their results over time, which is very good for that particular those type of purposes. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we can go back into more. Oh, sorry, not big topic. Well-beings. Try to measure feedback from students to end. Yes, that will generally be happening through surveys. So we normally put out like a lot of surveys with the students and try to get their feedback, and then we track it through the analytics to try and see like if there's been improvement, if there's been issues. That's generally one of the key things that we're always trying to address. And then also just as much in terms of surveys that you can send out both for the educators and for the users. Any sort of analytics helps because it makes a big difference in terms of how you how the educator or the school runs the courses and runs the modules. So in this particular case, we always ask the students, do they prefer, for instance, like live sessions or virtual learning, or do they prefer going just finding the course material online and then just going through it on their own? So sometimes recently it's been heavily towards virtual learning, and then maybe a handful of students prefer going onto the material and doing it self-paced or like self-learning basically. So we try to use that quite a bit in terms of understanding their benefits. Let's see another question. Let's share another question. Let's see. Sorry. Share my other video. Sorry. Oh, okay. That's Sarah. Apologies. Any other questions on that side?
What are the key things to think about when using such a system, the learning management system on a smartphone?
Okay, so one of the key things that we had to think about was like, so things such as like storage. Storage is something people tend to overlook when they're considering mobile devices. Mobile devices have limited storage on them, of which when you're talking to kids, majority of the storage is used for Instagram and pictures and things like that. You won't find a student saying, hey, I want to load all my physics homework or science homework on my phone and all the videos that are there. So because of that, we've had to think about like running the system with the server, pushing a lot of the information, and the phone only just presenting the work that they're looking at that time. Because like there's very limited space, so we can't load bulky applications onto the platform, onto your mobile device. It'll just take up too much space. If I look at, for instance, like science is a very visual subject, so you have to see things, you have to, which requires a lot of video material, a lot of images, and in some cases, like one grade or one class can take up gigs and gigs of data. There'll be huge amounts of data that's being used, so you can't download that all onto the phone. It won't work. So you need to be able to send it in bits and pieces. We apply like compression mechanisms in order to ensure that the video format is scaled down based on your network and your device. So that sorry, what about connection students who do? Do all students use data? Okay, so all right. So one of the benefits that we have in South Africa is with, for instance, Telkom. What they've done is they have zero-rated our network. So what that means is that students don't get charged for data transitioning. So if I'm watching a stream or a video, there's no data costs for the students if you're on the Telkom network. It's a small SIM card. It basically costs what's it, like €0.50, I guess, less than €0.50 for a SIM card. It's a once-off cost. And then you have access. You don't have to pay for the data costs. You have connectivity, and you're able to broadcast. That's a big thing for us in South Africa. But for places where there are like data rates, we try to put the compression mechanisms in place to try and reduce the bandwidth and reduce the costs of the data that the students are consuming, to try and make sure that it's not excessive at this point in time. What's the other thing? There's something else I'm trying to remember. I think that was the biggest one with regards to the storage, the data costs. And then, yeah, also just to make sure that students are able to communicate effectively using the device. So how you put like the video material together and so on. You have a very limited space here. So you have to make sure that if you're watching a video, they can still interact effectively, and you want to try and like use different sort of protocols to allow you those abilities, which is one of the key things about why we also went with the streaming engine, because it allows us to detach the video and still allow the students to still engage on the phone and respond and ask questions as they're going along. Yeah.
Thank you, Allan. As you provide solution for education, but also other industries, could you compare the two? Do they use your services in a different way? Is it similar, different? If so, how? If you can tell us a little more about that.
Okay, so we do for a lot of different industries, schools, professional services, NGOs, anybody that wants to basically teach would be using the platform. So I'm just going to give you a typical example. So these guys, this is it's a paper mill. They do construction, not construction, they manufacture paper. So it's a mill plant. So basically what they've done is they've used the platform to train the workers on things such as like COVID regulation, occupational health and safety, things such as like working at heights, confined spaces. So basically they load the video material and then they basically ask the guys, watch the video and see whether or not you understand the safety hazards, essentially. And so what we do here is they use the information to, check to see whether or not guys have understood the work, and they know what to do and what not to do, essentially. So like how to make sure you're hooked onto a device. Let's make sure it holds your full body weight. And what they do is they'll go and look and see how many people have actually gone through this material and have understood the work directly. So just to give you another example, I know there's one I spent quite a lot of time on, which is the Substation Axis. I like to use this as an example. So what happens here is that the users have to access a substation. So it's a very dangerous place. There's a lot of high voltages that are going through here. And if an individual doesn't go in with the right set of protective gear, they could get killed. So what these guys wanted to do is they wanted to make sure that everybody that has access to this particular site does not get injured. And so you have to be very, very careful. So what they used to do is they used to have a piece of paper, and that was the only sort of proof that individuals have understood the health and safety. They don't know if, it's 1,000 contract workers. How do you know that they've all gone through the tests and induction and understood it? So we were able to go to build this platform for them, put the material in, and then through the analytics, I'm just going to quickly just show you one of those. Through the analytics, we're able to go and see which people got cleared for the Substation Axis. It shows me the individuals who scored 100%, those who haven't. I'm able to track that effectively, see who's managed to engage and what they scored. But then on top of that, I can also see which companies I might need to watch out for. So for instance, in this case, where they were tracking how many people redid the test. So they want to know the dark blue. So this individual or this company, they had a lot of retests, which means that maybe they're not that good, and they need to watch out for them. Whereas these other ones were able to see that, okay, they did all the tests the first time, they understood the work, and they managed to get it quite easily. But these guys here, we need to maybe look out for them, and I'm not sure if they'll get access to the sites or so. So that's one example. You got Capital, let's look at Capital Legacy. These guys do financial services, so they do product training for their sales reps, policy training, and things like that. So it all depends on what you want to train. We will obviously configure the system for you and make it available for whoever the subject matter expert is. Because we generally are not subject matter experts. We're not experts in financial services or in health and safety. We just primarily focus on the platform, but we help them to put their material or their content into a digital format and then to broadcast it that way. Okay.
Thank you, Allan. What are the critical features and functions for education? What are the specifics for educators?
So the main thing is the ability to first and foremost create content and assessments. So I'd probably say the biggest one is the LICs, because this here for us in South Africa in particular it has the ability to allow you to create multiple testing tools for the students and give you feedback. This is quite, we would probably say it's probably like the most important of probably like of everything, because you can set up a test very quickly, and then you can basically see what the results are from your class, from the reports. It's very quick to set up a test. Depending if you have the questions and the answers, you load it on, and then you just click send, and then or create, and then the students can then complete the test at any time. Then you're able to see what the results are. The other two things are I guess the streaming engine. If you wanted to do virtual learning, that's one of the key ones that you can use. And then like the last one is obviously any of the chats or communication tools. So the Q&A. So here basically you can track and see where there's like a question that's been posted, and you're able to view that question as and how you expect it. So the feedback back and forth. So it allows the students to ask questions to the instructors, and for the instructors to basically respond. So feedback is quite key in any learning objective, because if the students if it's just a one-way direction, you don't know if you're teaching the right thing, and the students don't know whether or not they and you don't know whether or not the students have understood what you're saying. So having engagement or feedback loops is quite key. Okay, if there any other questions?
Thank you. There was a question about if your solution is used also by universities or primary and high schools. Sarah, thank you for responding in the chat that it's been used in various industries and various types levels of schools. Also, that question included question about the monthly fee and how does that work. Again, thanks Sarah for replying that it depends on number of users. So if anyone is interested in, Sarah shared her email address, so you can get in touch and discuss more. We have about 10 minutes still, so please keep the questions coming. And for those that are interested in staying a little longer, we can do that.
I'm happy to do that.
And thank you very much for all the questions. Joseph, please, you raised your hand.
Yeah, thank you. The first one with the raised hand. Thank you for thank you for the floor. Now, I would like to ask if your platform is used by parents, or how do you implement? Because we see that the whole education environment is the educational environment is quite broad, and the parents shouldn't be left out. So are there parents somehow involved in within your learning management system with the, like when it's related to schools? Thank you.
Yeah, so we do have like a parent login, so parents can log in under their student, the learners. So it could be at the moment it's currently configured up to 4 children for that parent, and basically we can increase it if needs be. It can be just a way of adjusting, but we normally just keep it to 4. We don't usually expect more than that. And basically the parent can log into the system, and we can also send them notifications. As long as we have captured their profile with the students, we can then also send them notifications. If needed, we can also send them, just like a WhatsApp, or the school can send a WhatsApp from the system to the parents to say, hey, or WhatsApp or email, depending on which one they have available. Hey, that there is like a test or a challenge or like a project that needs to be done. It's actually quite important to try and keep, if you can, keep the parents involved as much as possible. It's something that we encourage. It's not done too much in practice, especially this last year, but it's something that we try to encourage as much as possible because what we've seen is when the parents are involved, there's a better output from the students, because they're able to log on, engage in time, and then, there's no excuse, because if the parents know that, hey, there's a big project that's coming up, and then they'll ask the child in the room and say, hey, have you done your project? I saw it on Lightbulb, they sent an SMS or WhatsApp. And it helps to give that sort of encouragement instead of, I guess, the kids playing computer games or so on. Give that encouragement at the end of the day.
Thank you. We have a question for Carol as well. What are the key things you look for at the LMS or the learning management system as an educator? What's the most important for you? I think you mentioned a bit, but if you can tell us a little more.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. So in our context, it is really flexibility. Mm-hmm. So that the person who's the educator should be able to do whatever they would like to do with the system. And what I looked at is things like the ability to up and download Word documents or PowerPoint slides, which were at some point quite difficult to work in LMSs. They wouldn't allow you to use those sort of things. Also having options to support the learner face-to-face with the sort of video feed and web publishing tools that Allan showed. And then the thing that I do a lot of problem solving for almost remedial problems in education. So I particularly look at problem solving around multilingual classrooms and low literacy learners. And some of the tools that are available in this digital format has really helped us a lot with that. So if we have people with low literacy, we're able to navigate that with more visual learning, with the videos, with second language overlays that they could listen to an explanation in mother tongue, because we've got a multilingual society. So those things were important for me. And then our number one challenge that we have in this country is our data cost is outrageously expensive. So one of the main attractions to using this system or any system that we would have is to be able to use as light a data footprint as we can if it's not sponsored data. So in this case, if you're a telecom user, you've got sponsored data. But if not, and you want to use something like high definition video clips, because this is run via an Amazon server, it automatically compresses the video and it delivers it on the other side according to the bandwidth that the person has available. And that has made a huge difference to us. Otherwise, you end up with limited options because the bandwidth is a problem or the data is too expensive. So those sort of things have really been important for me. And then the other thing that I found quite interesting is everyone, when you start on these systems, you think you need to create everything from scratch yourself. But because of the urgency of COVID, we literally, I think, the month when COVID lockdown started, Telkom decided they wanted to have this system, and we had to populate content like that people have been writing for 100 years. We had to do in 100 minutes. So what it did is it forced us to look at using existing content in a different way so that it would be easy for us to adapt it. And in retrospect, it was exactly how you would do it if you were a teacher in a classroom. You know, you have a lesson, you want to do something, you go and find a nice YouTube clip, you use the YouTube clip like this, you ask these questions around the YouTube clip, you give a little test, you get them to write something, you get people to talk about it and discuss it, you give an assignment. So all those options are available, and that to me is absolutely important, like you can't believe. Then the last thing was to look at something that the type of people that are engaging with the system is comfortable with, so your end user. So in terms of the school ones, the typical high school children we started with obviously are very familiar with using chat functions like WhatsApp, or so the fact that you have the functionality that they could lie on their bed and take a picture or send a voice note was important for me. But it also became very interesting when we worked with the industrial users, because in their case they tend to use it in a different way, and they were far more formal because they came from that kind of education. And that flexibility to use it as you need to use it, rather than you only have these few options and you have to use it in that way, has been really important for me. And I think that any system you engage with, you should look for that. It doesn't matter whether it's Lightbulb or whether it is Google. You need as much flexibility as possible, because at the end of the day, the digital resources we have is no different to the resources we've always had. They're textbooks, they're just richer, and it should make life easier, not harder. So whenever I look at a system, I want ease. I don't want a steep learning curve. I was born before technology, so I don't want to have to learn to code in order to do stuff. I want to use it with an intuitive interface, just to upload and use it as I would in the natural world. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Carol. It's a great, well, kind of like final word. Time-wise, we came to an end, but as mentioned earlier, happy to stay a little longer if you have more questions. Allan, Carol, Sarah, Melande, if you would like to add something else.
I just want to add just one thing. I know obviously because of like the EU policies with GDPR and so forth, we do deploy on any Amazon infrastructure. So I do know that there's infrastructure in Ireland, Frankfurt, London, what's the other one? Stockholm, and sorry, so I'll get the list somewhere. So basically, if required, we would be able to deploy within the EU essentially, which will then cater for any sort of like data protection services and policies that are associated with the EU. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks so
and
much.
Any final comments, questions? Thank you so much, everyone. I'll give you a few more minutes or moments to think about comments or questions while I'm thanking everyone for a very interactive session. Thank you very much, Allan, Sarah, Melande, Carol, for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and again, for your questions. It was a great session, very interactive. Thank you very much for that. All the best and fingers crossed for everyone next week during the DigiEduHack and with your projects. If you'd like to learn more in the chat, there's Sarah's email address, or visit the website of Lightbulb EdTech.com. You can book a demo session there as well. So you had some more time to think about your questions or final comments. So now is the time, if you want.
If anybody has any other questions outside of this, they can always just send me via email, and I'll try to respond there. I've added my email to the chat, and then I'm happy to discuss, especially some of the guys who asked about APIs and so on. If you want any more feedback around that, I can also just engage with my development team, and we can just see what we can do from that side.
Thank you for that.
I don't want to steal anyone's floor for the last comments, but I just wanted to thank very much to Allan, Carol, and Sarah, and sorry, Melania, or yeah, the fourth colleague of yours, for sharing this with us. I'm overwhelmed with the information, and I think it was really an inspirational webinar. And although there were maybe not like around 50 people that we were supposed that they will join, I think that it would be very useful this recording for them, because we will provide it to them, of course, and many of other colleagues when we were talking on Monday about this webinar is going to happen. They were very interested in joining, but they unfortunately, like a lot of them, didn't have time to join on Wednesday. But they were asking for the recording. So it would be, I think it would be very, we would be very happy to provide them the recording. And I think that there would be maybe more questions raised after they will see it. And I just wanted to thank you. Really, I like Lucy stole most of my questions, so I just had the last one with the parents. So it was great, and thank you, Carol, for sharing this really user experience, because that's always I think the most helpful, because you can have the technical side, but there is always the second side of the coin, that is about the content and the users, that the people that are using the platform. And that's basically what this whole DigiEduHack is about here in Czech Republic, to somehow, you know, connect the technology with the content, and especially with the educational area. So it was a great experience for me. Thank you for that.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Now, we can only thank you for the opportunity to present, and yeah, we're always happy to engage, and anytime, please, we're very warm and helping in terms of helping you guys to learn about how to get into the digital space, especially with online learning. And even ourselves, we're always like trying to learn and improve where possible. We do a lot of development in terms of understanding what the pain points are from the various clients and divisions, and so we try our best to then take that information and optimize and make the system better. So that's one of the key things that we always like, is to get as much feedback as possible, so we can take it back and try and like improve the product and the service at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm happy to engage, and hopefully we're hoping to come to you guys in Prague. I'm not quite sure. I know Sarah was quite keen to come that side.
Please let us know.
Once all the restrictions have been, I think, yeah, we should be fine now, if I'm not mistaken. But thank you so much.
We will meet on Lightbulb. And I just wanted to also thank to Bara for guiding us through the whole event, and to our colleagues from the Global Exec for finding you for us, because it's as I said, it was a great experience, and thank you for connecting us with you. And yeah, I think, as I said, and I would repeat myself just with the thanks and, you know, inspiration and everything. So thank you for that.
Great, thank you very much. It was lovely working with you all. And
Likewise.
we look forward
so much,
to
Bara.
cooperating again.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. And we will definitely, we're more than happy to do it again anytime.
Wonderful. Cheers to South Africa from the Czech Republic.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Joseph.